Let's talk about frustrations as an entrepreneur. Frustrations has to be what you use to guide you. Make sure that you don't try to delegate and confuse that with abrogate. You have certain responsibilities and you cannot delegate thinking. And the reason that you can think is because things come at you and you have to deal with them. And because you do, sometimes it's frustrating. And now you have to come up. I studied this course about 30 years ago under Michael Gerber. It's called the key frustration process. And if you use the frustration, whatever it is, even like a bad review, if you use that to say, well, how do I prevent this from happening again? And now you come up with a system so that it doesn't keep repeating itself, because now you're addressing it systematically. Another one that I just recently encountered is, even though you come up with the system to address that, how are you going to train people repetitively? Because people come and people go, you get new employees, you have to have a system. And until recently, even in my new venture here at Kids to Dentist, I had forgotten that back when I had Kids Dental Care years ago, I developed a system and we had the videos, training videos. I had KDK University, and we had developed that because of the necessity, and it came to me back then. How do I keep training people? I trained one person and now they leave. I got another person who's going to come back and go over the same thing again. You have to have it recorded, and you have to have the text, and you have to have a way of seeing whether they go through it and they understand it. So you have to have a post test. It has to become like a university, and you have to be able to get, because what we're seeking is this when you're in business. And if you do it right, I'm telling you, you're so far ahead of the game that it's almost unfair. It's like watching somebody that's like 5th degree black belt fighting with somebody who had no idea. If you know business principles, it's because that puts you ahead of the game. But part of what we have to do is use the resources that we have. And the thing of training someone over and over again kind of goes back when I was in dental school. Dr. Fielder used to say, if you can't find time to do it right the first time, where the hell are you going to find time to do it over again? And that's the thing, because time is expensive. And if you're having to train, you want to have it so that it could be digital. And you just send them to a module, and they take that module and they have to learn. They take a post test, because now that ties right in with the employee handbook. Whereas in order before you can reprimand someone, you have to give them a corrective action notice. And the corrective action is go back, go over this, watch the video again, take the post test, and then talk with your manager to make sure that you do have an understanding, sign off, and now you go back. Because if it's happening over and over again, you can't really reprimand or dismiss someone unless you have documentation that you actually sent someone to do this and that they understood what they were doing. They signed off that they understood. So here's the thing. When you put this together, it's systems. You develop systems, and the systems are changing because things change. So you always have to be adjusting your system, but your systems are at work. And that's the thing. That's the reason Gerber based his thing on McDonald's. And it's true. Like he said, if you could get 17-year-olds to get the same results, same desired results over and over again, you actually have a system. And you can do that because it doesn't matter where you go. The fries taste the same, the burger's the same. It may not be the greatest, but it's the same. And that's what you want, consistency. And if you can do that, then you can replicate and you can scale. And that's so important in business. If you're going to really make money and get higher multiples, the investor wants to know, can it scale? It can't scale unless you have documented processes and systems, because most of us put too much into ourselves. And as they said, I heard someone say recently, spiritual. It says we have too much self-regard, too much regard for self. And that's even, you take that out into the business world and you put everything on you. But when you're an investor, you're looking, well, now you want to retire. You're getting old and anything could happen. You could get hit by a bus. So there's not a lot of equity in you because you're expendable. You can always be replaced, regardless of what it is that you say you do, except for you can't be replaced just being you. So if you want to be you, create something that reflects that, and then until someone else comes along and they're running it and they can do and be themselves. But here's the thing: if you want to create a business that really is going to work, you have to have business systems, and the systems are developed. And as Gerber said, the systems work so you don't have to. Systems are the solution. Develop the systems, but recently it just hit me again. The LMS, that's what we have to go back to, the learning management system, so that you document everything. And video, this is what we do now. You want to have and record everything because you don't want to go over it and then one person missed the meeting or whatever, and now you got, how are they going to know? And it's unfair to the person who's training if someone misses a meeting, but it happens. So we have to start recording all of those. That's something else that I haven't been doing. And it's almost like you have to have a production team, and they have to have someone that's posting it in the learning centers and so forth. So that now it's like school. And this is what I've been wanting to do. I always thought when I was in college, I said, wow, I'd love to teach. But there's no money in teaching, really, not a lot. You gotta love teaching. And I do love teaching, but now I have to let go of the money. I already made money, and I'm thinking I'd like to do this thing. So I'd like to teach what it is I know, but especially as about entrepreneurship, it's just principles, the business principles, and they work across the board. Anything that you can look at. We have a great piece that we're doing on the whole marketing thing, the 4-part marketing. Simplicity is it really is. Lead generation, lead conversion, fulfillment, and then recall, recare, so forth. And then it just starts over again. It's just a loop. And if you can get that right and you can perfect that, it can work for anything.